This episode is proudly sponsored by BP Me Rewards. Welcome to the world's #1 podcast, Soccer A to Z, the AZ. It's the People's Podcast, saving football 1 week at a time, whilst helping society.
Aww.
We are working our way through the alphabet from A to Z or Z. Last week was I. I'm no English teacher, but I reckon today's letter is J. We're one short today. We're playing with 10 men. We're up against it. But we still have Helen. Hello, Helen.
Yeah, hi. Hello.
Hell's bells.
Hello,
There
Hells.
she is. We've got
Hi, Helen.
Robbie.
Hello, everyone.
Robbie's being played out of position today.
Yeah.
He's in Tubes' chair.
He is in Tubes' chair. How does it feel in Tubes' chair?
I feel like it doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm being crammed into the team in an out of position. Yeah.
Out of position.
Yeah, I feel like Steven Gerrard for England.
Joe's here as well.
Hello.
Yeah. And as I say, Tubes is away. I think he's playing Guelph, isn't he? He's
Guelph.
Guelph. He's playing Guelph in Dubai.
Yeah.
I think he's gone out there to do that. I played golf the other day. I played at... Helen, you can help me here. I played golf at Hampton... Is it Royal Hampton Court or Hampton Court? Anyway, I played there. It was lovely. I played quite well. But not once, but twice, a crow came along and picked up my ball and flew off with it. My mates were laughing so much because I chased them. Because what they do is they fly, they get down and then they get up again and they fly again. And I'm chasing them around trying to get my ball back. They're brand new Titleist, Joe. They're not cheap, are they?
Cheap, no.
No, exactly. And I was chasing these crows, but it happened twice. My mates are absolutely... Their balls didn't go. Why on earth would a crow pick up a golf ball? Does it think it's a boiled egg?
It thinks it's an egg, but not boiled. It just because they do steal eggs.
Oh, do they?
Why? What are they going to do with
Oh
them?
yeah, they come into they
Poach him, boil.
Yeah.
yeah,
Throw them at cars.
scrambled. So the crows come into I've got a big chicken house, and in the morning I just open the door and they all come out, and the crows will go in and steal the eggs from the nest boxes. They'll go into the chicken house and steal
Ooh, the
them.
cheeky beggars.
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
These
so
crow
that's
bags.
So that's what they think, because it's a brand new ball. It's really white, and I suppose that's why they could see it, and that's why they went to do it. It's
Why don't
so
you just
weird.
play with an older ball?
I did. I switched up. And played with the old Callaway.
And did they nick that?
No.
If they dropped your ball closer to the pin, would that be all right? Would that count?
I think so, but they didn't. It was on the green. One was on the fairway, and the other one was on the green, and that's unusual for me for both those shots.
Yeah.
I'm usually in the rough, and they picked it. But I did think one of the crows was pecking at it, trying to get it open, and then it dropped it, but it was in the rough, and I couldn't find it.
You have to start using your winter golf balls. A yellow ball.
A yellow
Yellow
ball.
ball.
Actually, my mate had one we thought was taken, which was yellow and black. So maybe it was like a football.
A novelty golf
Yeah, it was a
ball.
novelty golf
No.
ball. My friend Nick used, and we weren't happy about it. I said, I'm not sure I'm playing with you using a novelty golf ball. Anyway, let's catch up on what everybody's been doing. Helen Chamberlain, what's going on in Chamberlain's Farm in the animal prison? Actually, someone pointed out to me this week that your animal prison is a bit like, they were listening to the podcast and they said, when you're talking to Helen, I imagine it's like that film Chicken Run, where all the animals are plotting, trying to work out how they can get out of Helen's prison, and she's there with her black hood on dispatching.
Yeah, one eye on the dispatcher, haven't they? Will we be next?
This is because you paint pictures, don't you, with a little bit of audio podcast, and that's the picture we're painting.
Yeah.
I've not seen Chicken Run, but
I'm not liking this anymore, that I'm some sort of hooded murderer on a farm which is actually a small holding, and all my animals are trying to escape. It's not. No, they're all welcome.
Oh, well, I think then take all the fences down and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see if they stay.
Let them choose.
At the bottom of my road is the A3 and the M25 junction, so they'd all be run over.
Or they'll book an Uber and run away.
Don't like you. Anyway,
what is the news?
I've been. I mean, not a lot. I've been worming and dagging the sheep this week.
What's dagging? What is dagging?
Is that like dispatch?
What is dagging?
She's having to make up new words, isn't she? Like, getting rid of animals. I've been dagging this week.
Come here, sheep.
I dagged its head off.
Get dagged. What's that? They trot
Dagging
along.
party.
They trot along and they don't come back.
Come on, you guys aren't stupid. Dagging shears, the handheld shears. So you dag your sheep, you take the spare wool off of their bottom area to keep them clean over winter because it's wet and it's muddy, and you tidy up their flares and do their chins.
Equipatize.
You've got to. You did a little bit of a mime there, but I think you're going to have to tell us what flares are. They're
Oh no, it's just my sheep have got a lot of wool at the bottom of their legs.
Oh, I see. Right, I thought that was a technical term.
I just call them their flares. They're not. You just tidy them up so that when they're out in the mud, they don't get so dirty.
But surely the wool around the bottom area is there for a reason, to stop stuff going into the bottom. Surely it's designed.
Or a super vet.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just imagine that sheep's are better designed. We don't need to interfere. I imagine that's what they're there for. Why do we? What happens if you don't shear them? They just get dreadlock type things, and then.
Yeah, it's not nice for them. The wool keeps them. The wool is a bit like a flask keeping hot things. Hot coffee.
2 cups of coffee and a
What do you
chocolate.
keep in your sheep?
So sheep wool, it keeps them cool in the summer and it keeps them warm in the winter, but you just don't let it get out of control.
How do you worm them? Do they go into that liquid? Do you put them in that, or do you have to give them pills?
No, you don't sheep dip anymore because that was all running into waterways and things. So it's very different now. I have an oral wormer this time, so it's just a syringe into the mouth, but you can inject them with ivermectin. I've injected all the sheep before. But you kind of mix your wormers up so they don't get resistance to them. You have a record
easy,
of what you
is
worked
it?
with last time.
It's a lot of faff.
It's a lot of stuff you have to do to keep animals, isn't
Use
it?
ivermectin.
You used to play left back at
Play for
Rotherham.
Stoke.
Yeah. Stoke. Yeah, that was it. Stoke, and then moved to Port Vale. Well, people weren't happy about that. Robbie, what have you been up to?
Lots of stuff.
You've got more bad news, haven't you, this week?
So remember, I was going to drink in as many countries as I could.
And you did, and you can tell us now because the video's out.
It is out.
How many countries?
I managed to drink in 6 different countries in one day.
And it looked lonely.
Well, my friend Becky was supposed to be coming with me, but she got hospitalised in Cos, so she couldn't come. But then she was coming
well
on.
now? Is she well?
She's well now. She's fully healthy, and she's coming on this trip tomorrow, where we're going to go to the world's biggest pub, which is in the Netherlands. Until just before we walked in here, when I got a voice note from her saying she'd lost her passport.
Yeah, right.
She just doesn't like doing
No,
it for
she
you.
doesn't want to do it with you, does she?
I think she does want to, but I appreciate it. It looks to me like I'm some kind of girlfriend in denial, where I'm like, oh no, he does love me.
Yeah.
Does want to hang out with me and do videos.
No.
But that's not the case. So I've been doing. So that's
Have you
what I'm doing
actually ever
tomorrow.
met her?
Yeah, we've been on many trips before. We went to the world's oldest pub. We went to Oktoberfest. Lots of different things.
I did actually see her when I came to watch you doing. I didn't say hello to her, but I came to see her when you did your live show.
Yeah.
She's very popular. She had a big queue of people trying to get photographs with her.
Yeah. Well, if any of them see her, let me know.
So how big is the? Well, can you tell us anything?
The world's
about the
biggest pub. It's in Netherlands, in a place called, I think, Groningen. I don't know if that's
Where's
how you
that
say
near?
it. It's in northern Netherlands,
Right.
about 2 hours train ride from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport.
Are you flying and then train, or
I'm flying. I'm doing a day
Right,
trip,
okay.
so I'm flying, train,
Right.
3 hours there, back.
Right.
Bleak.
And how big is it? The pub?
I don't know. It's big.
Oh. Well, how do you know it's the world's biggest pub?
Internet.
Yeah, but then didn't they say
What's it called? The Big Red Lion or something?
No, I can't. It's something Dutch.
something Dutch?
Yeah, I've got it written down.
But how do they judge the world's biggest? Is that on land size or room size or?
I'll be totally honest.
But-
it doesn't really matter as long as you've got a justification to call it in the
Right,
title and
okay.
thumbnail.
Okay, can you talk about the other thing you're doing, or should we wait?
I can. It's up to you. I can do. I
think it's brilliant. I really loved it.
I bought I went to Harrods the other day and bought the world's most expensive food advent calendar for
Stop and let him guess how. Oh, do you know how much it is, Joe? I think you do, don't you?
I was on the WhatsApp group, but I've forgotten.
Helen, how much was it?
Well, I would have said that the most expensive advent calendar you could buy would be about 500 quid. But this was in Harrods, so it's got to be into the thousands. But also I know Robbie doesn't have.
It's advent calendar.
Say Robbie doesn't have £1,000.
So you can't charge thousands of pounds.
Well, in
This is
Harrods,
food,
I
though.
bet
This
you
is
can.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, food advertising.
Yeah, so you can get jewellery ones
right.
and makeup ones and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say they'll be in the thousands,
Yeah.
but also I know you don't have that much disposable money,
No.
Ruby, so
Wouldn't be here if I did.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. He's an influencer. They're very wealthy.
No, not this one.
I don't know, 250 quid.
Oh,
Spot on, Helen.
on.
250
Yeah.
quid. Yeah, so I've opened that up, and that video will be out in a week or two.
So you've opened it up.
You've
already?
opened it. Isn't that
Aren't
bad
you
luck?
supposed to be doing it day by day?
No, it's for a video, so I need to. I think it's out a week today. I think. Yeah.
And can you? You can't.
I can't ask what
is
the
it-
tastiest
yeah.
thing it was.
When can you tell us that? When's it out?
Is that next week? I can give you hints. I mean,
Go on, give us a hint.
well.
What was?
I did it with.
What was on the 16th?
I did it with my friend Jack. Great question. I did it with my friend Jack, who had a big advent calendar video a while ago.
Right.
So I thought that'd be quite useful. And obviously we were going, this is not worth £250. Then he messaged me the next day saying, we need to redo the video. I've just eaten all of the chocolate covered pistachios, and they're in my top 3 things I've ever eaten. I think I might buy another advent calendar.
Oh, really?
So there was some really good stuff in there. There was some things that I wasn't excited by. But,
And you've been to the game as well, haven't you?
I went to Norwich versus Bristol City. Yeah.
Well done. Any good? Enjoy it? What was the score? I don't know.
Bristol City won 2-0.
You're not going up.
No, injuries, suspensions.
Yeah, everyone's got injuries, haven't they? Joe, what about you? How's Bolton getting on?
Don't.
Oh.
You'd have thought, after all these years, you'd kind of get used to it. You'd get over it. It wouldn't mean that much to you, but it just does, doesn't it? Got hammered 5-0 at Stockport, Tim. You know that.
Stockport are a good team, though.
We had
I texted Joe this week and he was not happy about it.
You know, Harry
Sorry for
Redknapp was on
laughing,
last
Bolton
week.
fans.
Harry
Yeah.
Redknapp was on last week, and he was saying, he said to his wife, just don't ever book anything for Saturday night, because if we lose, I'm just...
Yeah. Do you care that much?
When you lose 5-0 at Stockport, you do, yeah.
When Jay Okocha was tearing up the Premier League, you weren't thinking 20 years' time we're going to be getting pumped by Stockport.
Yeah.
What was the problem? Injuries?
In League One.
Injuries?
as well.
5 breakaways.
Hold on, are you still playing your youth team? Wasn't that Bolton who put out their youth team one week? A few seasons ago. I think,
Did we?
Yeah, I think they just... for some reason, I think Bolton just put out the whole of their youth team or something. I don't know. I thought I read that. One of those things. There's so much football, isn't there? There is so much. I was saying the other day, when I was a kid, you had to learn 11 players and substitute. So you had all the teams in the Premier League in the first division. So there's 11 of them and a substitute. That was roughly it. So you had Fairclough coming on for Liverpool or something. Do you know what I mean? And that was the one, that's the one you had to learn because he was the one who was going to come on. And 11. Nowadays, Jesus Christ, it's like Chelsea got 40 players. I don't even know the Chelsea players. It's like being on Mastermind to try and understand who the hell's playing for who.
My 7-year-old son Arlo's got really into football, and he learns loads of stuff about things. And he was talking to my friend Jack, who was around the other day, and he's a West Ham fan, and he said, "Do you know any West Ham players?" And Arlo said someone, and Jack went, "Oh no, I think you've got that wrong there because he doesn't play for West Ham." And then Arlo went and got a book and showed him. It was like the 3rd choice goalkeeper. That was like, okay, I guess you know more than me then.
Yeah, kids love it, don't they?
Yeah.
They learn it.
Well, they've got fresher memories, haven't they? They haven't got 40 years, 40 seasons
Stuff.
worth of
Yeah.
info rattling around in there, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I used to know all of the players of all of the teams because of the Panini stickers.
That's
Because
right.
you'd be at school going, what, got
Exactly.
one. So you just knew everybody from
That's
every
it.
team.
That's how you learn it. Kenny Burns. I did something Showbizy this week by accident, if you want to know what I did. Thank you for
please.
asking.
What did you do, Tim?
I was a proper celebrity this week.
No.
I went to Louise's birthday party by accident. I was out having an early supper.
You used to work with her, didn't you?
Yeah, I love her. She's great. I was having a light fish supper, and then I was
cod.
What did I have? Cod. No, do you know what? I can't remember now. I started
Take a few minutes to think about it. If you
yeah. This is not the important bit.
Okay.
Anyway, I finished my light fish supper, and I thought I'd just have a quick beer before I go home. I was with my girlfriend. Went upstairs to the lounge area. And my girlfriend, there's Louise. And so Louise goes, yay. I went over and she goes, it's my birthday. So I thought, well, I'd better stay for a drink or two. Ended up having a whole night of drinking far too much. I got too excited and drunk far too much. But I was like Showbiz for the night. I don't know anything.
that is good, yeah.
It was really
Exciting.
good, yeah. Having a chat with Shaznay from All Saints. She was lovely. Lee Francis was there. Let me name drop everybody. John.
Did he have a big hat on?
He did.
Did he?
He did.
Your chippy's much fancier than mine.
For your like fish supper. Yeah, it was all very show business. I was thinking maybe I should do more show business stuff because I don't do any of it.
You should. It'd be give us something to talk about on here.
Yeah, just for that though. But it kind of, I don't know. Louise is different because I like her. So, you know, it's like going to those showbiz parties. As Helen will tell you, they're boring as hell, aren't they? If you're sitting there thinking, oh, I wish I was at a showbiz party, you're not missing anything, especially award ceremonies. Oh my God, they're so tiring, aren't they? Do you think, Helen?
Yeah, but I do remember the difference between me and you because you're more showbiz than me. You always because you're very a London person as well.
London.
But London.
Yeah.
So I remember when you were at David Beckham's really swanky showbiz party.
Of course.
I was at Eddie Large celebrating 50 years in showbiz
That's
party.
brilliant. That is brilliant. I think I'd rather. I don't know. That's
All the old comedians were there. Like, you know, the 70s and 80s comedians were there. And can you imagine how long the speeches lasted?
Oh, everyone doing a turn.
Everybody did a turn. But when Eddie Large, this was quite... But I don't know how to describe it. When Eddie Large did his speech, which went on for about half an hour, he ended up, I think, standing on the chair. The very last thing he said was the room was all in uproar. And the very last thing he said, 50 years in show business, he pointed at me and went, "It's Helen from Soccer AM. I bloody love that show," and sat down again. And it was just really.
Why didn't you book him for the show?
He came on the show quite a lot. He came on the show quite a lot in the end because we did Little and Large with Mark Little from who used to
Joe Mangle.
Yeah.
How did you get invited to that, Helen?
I think it was through my old entertainments manager, Lee Carroll.
Can I just say that was a good party? But my David Beckham one, when I was there, I was sitting on a table and I had Kathy Dennis, you know, who wrote all the massive hits for everybody. She was sitting in front of me. Simon Fuller, Spice Girls manager, was to another side. I had David Blaine sitting to the left of me, and he was genuinely doing magic tricks for me at that table. So it's not like one of those other magicians you get at those parties. I had David Blaine doing it.
Shouldn't he have been in a glass box somewhere?
And he should have been, but he wasn't. He was sitting next to me. And then I went for a wee, and I had a wee next to P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. I was one of the ones who got away because that's what I was sitting there. This is the most amazing party. All the England team were there, Rio and Wayne Rooney and everybody else. So it's Eddie Large versus that. It's pretty on par, I think. We're there. Now listen, lots of questions coming on from our readers. Darren Seaton says, can we have a dispatched feature? Where, say, someone gets megged and we can say they've been dispatched in Helen's terminology. That is brilliant. Craig says,
I think at the Oscars, when they do the in memoriam, they should just say dispatch.
Dispatch. Craig
stars have been dispatched this year.
Craig says, why does Robbie support Scotland? Don't answer that, Robbie, because we'll be answering that on the Friday show. Jonathan Coates says, do you think a referee should do a post-match interview? Don't answer that, Helen and Joe, because we'll do it on Friday. Get your questions in, and we will do Friday's Q&Q, which stands for questions and quiz. Helen, have you got some J's from our listeners?
I have, but what's annoying me, actually this is what's wrong with football. What's annoying me is when people put their questions in. So I have, like, the first one is from Butts.
Butts?
Butts.
You mean your J's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you put even if you, on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, you've got your silly names, can you put your actual name? Because I'm reading out, Butts says jumpers for goalposts. You know, and then I have afterwards, I think it's Dr. Haddo, because there's
What was the first one? We didn't catch it. What was the first one? J for what?
J for jumpers for goalposts.
Oh, brilliant. But perfect.
But Dr. Haddo also says jumpers for goalposts.
Yes.
So that one
very
has
popular,
come in quite a bit.
Very popular, yeah.
Yes. Did everybody play with jumpers for goalposts? Do
course.
kids still play with jumpers for goalposts?
No, they're playing on PlayStations anyway, or Nintendos, or what was the other one? Wii's, or I don't know. Anyway, Xbox. That's it. Yeah.
Lukey Sanders says jeers against former players.
Yeah, that's good.
I just like it. If somebody's done something squiffy on the pitch, that they just get jeered every time they touch the ball after boo. So I like that. Sliced bread. See, that I'm reading this out from somebody called Sliced Bread, and I know what's going to happen. People are going to try and get fake names in to get me to read them out.
Good idea.
I'm not going
Start
to do
doing
the
that,
classic.
please.
No,
Everybody, start doing it.
I will just change their names to John.
Mr.
and
Mr. and Mrs. Bread are listening to this, fuming that you're slagging off their child's name that they thought was original and nice.
Sliced Bread says J for just play. Intricate tactics from managers is just woke nonsense.
Yep.
Yep.
Proper name, Owen Davis. See, that's what I want. Owen Davis. Juninho. I'm glad that Juninho was put forward, because I would have put him forward. Otherwise, one of the best Brazilian exports the Premier League has ever seen. Was so exciting.
When he signed for, I was producing the OBs on the Big Breakfast at the time. When he signed for Borough, they used to have a go at us all the time because we were a London-based show, T-based show. Big Breakfast, and we used to try and as OBs just go as far as Birmingham so we could get home. And they kept on saying, you've got to go further away. So I went up to Borough and I took a load of Brazilian dancing girls with me, and we had a samba band and everything else. We set up in the morning. But I reckon by, what time did that show start, the Big Breakfast? Was it 7? By the time it was 6:30, because they'd seen all the trucks and stuff, it was about 5,000 people there. It was just absolute mayhem. The police came and told me off. But Borough went mad for it. And that was the Big Breakfast. You know, they were excited, but they loved it. They absolutely loved Juninho. And well done, Borough. It was just so exciting to be up there to see it all happen.
And he just didn't look like a footballer either, did he?
He was brilliant, that one.
Yeah, he was great.
Ravanelli, Emerson.
Only little.
Great.
I don't know if this is D.W. Swinfen or D.W.S. Winfen.
Just say huge anus.
Right, that's it. If you come with a ridiculous name, I will make them up. But D.W. Swinfen says just Jay is Jamie Vardy.
Jamie Vardy, the greatest story in football.
Yeah.
Isn't he the only bloke that's won the Northern Premier League and the Premier League?
I don't know, but he probably, but it's the greatest story in football. He just doesn't stop scoring, and he won the bloody league with Leicester. It's unbelievable. It was the greatest story. When they made that into a film, it's like Disney. No one's going to believe it. It's just such a great story. Yeah. I've got Adam Leeson says Jules Rimet still gleaming. Do you know what happened to the Jules Rimet?
It got nicked, and a dog called Pickles found it, didn't it?
And then what happened?
It got nicked again, didn't it?
Yeah,
and then it got melted down.
Because then because they gave it to, well, they don't know what's happened to it. They gave it to Brazil because they won it 3 times, and then they melted it down. They think it might be melted down. They've still got the base of it. I think in Switzerland or somewhere, but they don't know where it actually is. Martin says Johan Cruyff turn, as there were no skills in football before this. I think we all know that. Before football, there was no...
They just hoofed it end to end.
Yeah, and then Johan Cruyff came along and he invented skill in the '74 World Cup or something. He's well known as well for his quotes. He's like the Dutch Brian Clough. I'll give you a couple here. Playing simple football is very simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing there is. No idea what that means. Players today can only shoot with their laces. I could shoot with the inside laces outside of both feet. In other words, I was 6 times better than today's players. And
modest fella.
A lot of them don't even have laces now.
He said, I'm not religious. In Spain, all 22 players make the sign of the cross before they enter the pitch. If it works, all matches must therefore end in a draw. There you go. And Martin Sinfield says...
There's some wisdom in there.
I'm with that one.
If you actually go to look up the Johan Cruyff quotes, they are amazing. He's got so many brilliant ones. Should we go into our J's? Should we start with... who won last week?
That was me.
No.
Do I put the crown on?
You put the crown on while you do yours, yeah. There you go. So we start with the winner. It is, of course, Joe. What have you got?
Well, and I'm not going to win. I'm not going to retain the crown this week. It's purely self-indulgent. I've not chosen one J. I've chosen 2 J's. Jay Okocha.
So good they named him twice.
So good they named him twice. I had a T-shirt, actually, that had that. It was a brilliant black T-shirt with just a silhouette of him. It's JJ. So good they named him twice. Don't know what happened to it.
But I think I made that up, didn't I?
No, it was
I know. I think I made that up on the show because it's New York. So good they named it twice. I think I started saying JJ Okocha. So good they named him twice. I think I did.
I had a tea. Well, I don't know. Who
Probably
knows?
post. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What a player.
What a player.
What an absolute... Just lit up the Premier League. He'd have got in any of those sides.
Yeah.
And just ended up playing for little old Bolton and loved it.
Walking showboat machine.
He was a walking showboat machine, but he was more than that. He had everything. He'd dig deep when he needed to as well. He was just great. That free kick he scored against Villa in the League Cup, where he's out left, right, with about 30 yards out, and there's a wall in place to cover the near post, and he just runs up and wellies it with the outside of his boot like Johan Cruyff. I think it was David James in net, and he just it was just rocketed. Oh, what a free kick. He had this move where he'd be running full pelt and he'd roll over the ball with one foot, and then in the same next thing he'd just do a step over with the other, and the defender would just be he wouldn't know whether he was coming.
If you're not watching this online, this is brilliant. Just all the actions, the passion is lit up.
Yeah. I've never seen him this excited.
Yeah, it's amazing when you get a player in your team that you really want to watch week in, week out, because it changes the whole dynamic. There's this bloke called Cole Palmer at Chelsea.
Ding.
Yeah.
What would be there, Robbie? About 19?
Yeah, there's Cole Palmer and David Beckham have both been mentioned so far.
Yeah, okay.
Where's Tubes? I need him.
Podcast bingo.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just amazing. I've once got honoured to do the switch on, Christmas lights switch on Bolton Town Hall steps.
Yeah.
And I had to interview JJ in front of the Town Hall, baying mob on the Town Hall Square, right? And I remember asking JJ what he was going to be having for his Christmas dinner. I don't think he knew what I was on about. He was just smiling, grinning at me, but it was brilliant. Peter Kay did the Christmas lights switch on. I was just the warm-up.
Nice.
Yeah.
JJ Okocha is great because he's such a when I think about him, it just takes me back to soccer AM, the great memories, and I just love watching him play football every week. It's one of those things that when Bolton are on telly, you go brilliant because JJ Okocha's playing. That was kind of it, wasn't it?
That time Arsenal turned up when they were going for the title and what they needed to win, I think, or something, and we ended up beating him, and he was just mugging off who was it down in the bottom corner? I can't remember who the fullback was, and he was just doing rainbow flicks over his head. It was just brilliant.
And that's that's the same with all teams which have like Janino we were just talking about a minute ago for Borough. You tune in to watch him play football. It's just Tino Asprilla. I loved watching at Newcastle because he just do mad things. But that's brilliant. That's pretty good.
In the early days,
strong.
Thank you. In the early days of Showboat, there were only 3 showboats in it, weren't there? It wasn't like the free-for-all that it became.
2 with JJ.
Yeah. But no, I always remember Andy Harris, God bless him, used to say if we were struggling to find 3 showboats, he'd say just get the Borough tapes out and just have a flick through, see what Janino's doing.
Brilliant.
And he'd never let you down. There'd always be 1 or 2 Janinos lurking.
Harris was the gooner in the gallery, by the way. Helen Chamberlain, that was a good one. What about you? What's your J?
That was good. I like Joe's passion. I felt like that about Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, but that's not my J.
Oh. Who was your torquay player that was really skillful that you couldn't?
Rodney, what was his name?
Rodney Jacks.
Rodney
Jacks. Yes.
Jay.
No S. Rodney Jack. Yeah.
How the hell did you remember that?
I remember he's called Rodney.
Rodney Jack. That's fantastic.
My J is for jokers. I'm glad that Tubes isn't here this week because I felt sure that Tubes would have gone with football jokers, and it was free, so it's mine. So, the footballer is well known for being the messers, the jesters, the pranksters, the comedians. And, of course, we all think of Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah, number one.
He is the number one, whether it's from wearing the fake boobs on the bus to putting on the long wig, joining David Ginola.
Booking the ref.
Yeah.
Booking the ref. I saw that footage the other day when Ginola's on his first training session with Tottenham, and Gazza comes out with a really thick, long wig on and just joins in the jogging, flicking it about, and Ginola just looks at him and just carries on. I mean, we could be here for the rest of the podcast doing Paul Gascoigne's jokes and messing about, but what about everybody else? Another one that immediately came to mind when I thought of football jokers is Balotelli.
Balotelli.
When he just turned up in the big knitted chicken rooster hat. From the moment he just turned up, walked about in that, you thought, okay, this guy is different.
What about
to
what
football.
about Jimmy
Yeah.
Bullard?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
Jimmy
he
Bullard?
was brilliant, wasn't he? He was he messed about a bit, had some fun.
He not only fun on the pitch. I genuinely cried laughing when we saw the footage of him doing his turns and walk to camera
That's
for
right.
Sky.
Yeah.
And he just kept
Yeah, it's
turning
always
round, and
brilliant,
he'd have no neck in one, and then he'd pull his shorts up to under his chin. Daft stuff makes me laugh more than jokes. But
Can I just say,
He's,
I agree with everyone loving Roy Keane for no nonsense, smiling's overrated and all that sort of stuff. That makes me laugh. It is great. But I also love footballers who actually enjoy playing. And when you see Jimmy Bullard used to look like he enjoyed, Gaza enjoys playing, Jay Okocha enjoys playing.
Loved it.
Yeah, Cole Palmer enjoys playing. The players who enjoy it really love it, and they walk off the pitch. You think that they just had 90 minutes of fun. I love watching that.
Can I give you a little fact about Mario Balotelli?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I think this is right. He's the only Italian to have won the Premier League.
I think that's right as well, because I think that was sent in by one of our listeners who was.
see, I immediately think, were there no
Stat
Italians
chat.
in the Chelsea squad?
No.
Not really won it, I don't think. Yeah. Do you know what? That's a great cue. To
Stat chat.
Stat chat.
Yeah.
Jordan Mitchell says Jose Mourinho went 9 years, 1 month and 10 days without a home defeat as manager. D. Matthews says Mo Salah has more cards for celebrating than United have goals at Anfield since he joined. 4 yellows for Salah, 1 goal for United. MJ College says Sunderland have never won a trophy when Labour have been in government. That's Stat Chat. Is the last one a stat?
It's a fact.
Fact, okay.
Fact chat.
Fact chat. Helen, we were in the middle of your J, weren't we?
Oh, good. We haven't finished. Brilliant. Yeah.
Day of 2 parts. There are.
I thought I haven't even got to the David Bentley bit yet.
Yeah, go
because
on.
Jimmy Bullard is a joker, but Jimmy Bullard and David Bentley together, ridiculous. We all know Bentley threw the bucket of ice water over Harry Redknapp after Tottenham qualified for the Champions League and got sent out on loan shortly after that. But Jimmy Bullard tells the most amazing story that when they're in the England squad together, and Bullard couldn't believe how much Fabio Capello looked like Postman Pat. So they had a game where they would try and say Postman Pat as loud as they could when he was in earshot,
That's
but out of the corner of their mouth, and then Jimmy just says that after a while, David Bentley just walked right up to Fabio Capello and said, "Postman Pat and his black and white cat."
Oh, no.
And that was because he didn't know that was the end of the game. And Jimmy got them all singing the Postman Pat song on the England coaches on the way to grounds. Just messers. Paul Scholes used to, players in training, when they all run off to the tree line and have a wee.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes used to line up balls and try and hit them while they were doing a wee up against the tree.
Helen, we can't do jokers without talking about the players who used to come on our show, can we? And used to be swearing because they were told they were foreign players, and the English players had told them to come on the show. Famously,
Samasi Abu.
Samasi Abu. We won't say what he said. Or what did he say? I can't remember now. But
I tell you, it's one of my Soccer M stories that I tell a lot, because on the same show as Samasi Abu, we had the Happy Mondays.
Right.
So we were terrified that the Happy Mondays were going to swear on the show, and I remember running into
because they'd been banned from Channel 4 for swearing.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially Sean. Yeah. And I remember going into the green room and saying, "Oh, look, I know we've told you no swearing, but you'll probably tone down big swearing to smaller swearing." And it was my fault. I take full responsibility for it, because we'd heard a couple of weeks before that Dennis Wise used to, when foreign players used to come to Dennis Wise and say, "What is the word for offside?" Dennis Wise would say, "It's combine harvester." To watch them in interviews say he was combine harvester.
Right.
So
okay.
we'd heard this, that Dennis Wise was the messer. So we had Samasi Abu on the show with the Happy Mondays in the green room waiting to come on, and he had an interpreter with him. And I just said, how are you getting on with your language? Is anybody we heard Dennis Wise, is anybody telling you the wrong words to say? And he said, I have been told that in this country it is okay to say F off. But he said the actual words.
Yeah.
He said, Davy Ginola, tell me this. and he sat there, and his interpreter just went, oh my, we all went, oh my God. He'd actually said the two big words, F off. He'd said the two big words out loud. And the next thing that we did on Soccer AM was, let's welcome the Happy Mondays. That was the day we thought we were going to get taken off air.
Jokers is very, very, very strong. Right, guys, I've got to interrupt the podcast now. We've all heard the match of the day news. Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
They've taken Life of Riley off the Goals of the Month competition.
No,
it's absolute disgrace.
I didn't know that.
So we've got Ian Broudie here to discuss Match of the Day with us. Hi, Ian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Nice to be here and see you.
Hello, Ian.
Let's get straight into that. What was it like? You're a massive football fan, massive Liverpool fan. What was it like when they used Life of Riley on Goals of the Month? Did they have to get your permission? And what was it like when you actually heard it?
Well, it was very early on, so it was. They didn't get up. It was a complete surprise that it was on there, and. It was funny really, because on my first album there used to be, I can't remember what it was called now. I remember it was with a guy called Elton Wellesby, but Granada used to do this football show, and they always used to have on either something I'd produced or something, or went on our first album. I think there was a track called Love Explosion with a few really badly programmed congas, and that used to be on. So there was this history of it, and then people have pointed out to me that when I was in my first band, the track that we released on Liverpool bands, unsigned bands, recorded in the Unemployed Centre on the 4-track, was an instrumental that I'd written called Match of the Day, which I'd completely forgotten of. So there's been this theme going through, the whole thing. So then it was on, Life of Riley was on there. But then I was really surprised because they were using it. I thought it was probably a one-off, but then they used it for a couple of years, which was brilliant, And,
did it mean
when we play Life of Riley, sorry.
So did it mean you had a say in who won Goal of the Month?
Yeah. Well, they have to put it past me. It's not like I didn't have the final decision.
Let's talk about Liverpool then. You're top of the league. It looks like you actually think you could go on and win it, couldn't you?
Well, could is the operative word there, really, isn't it? We could, whether we will or not. I think, we're 12 games in. But I really like Arne Slot. I think he's quite quietly funny, and his little jokes that he kind of makes in the press conferences, and he just seems. I was at the European game midweek, and it was amazing because I love Xavi Alonso. I always loved Xavi, and it was a return for him. And his side was so well drilled, and in the first half, I could see the two managers. And Xavi was really animated, like it was a chess game. You get over here, and they were, and it felt like we could never break them down. They were so well organised. And Slot was just sort of standing there, really still, watching, a bit like Jurgen used to do before the game at the warm-up, where he'd just look at the opposing side. And then at half-time, he changed something subtly. And I really don't know quite what it was that he changed. He'd obviously been looking at it. And we just scored 4 goals, and it was just, it was like a master at work, It was like amazing. And Xavi Alonso sat down, and he was just still standing there like that. And it made me feel like, I'm starting to really like him,
It's so nice for Liverpool fans that Slot has just, it seems like, immediately worked out.
She should have said slotted in, shouldn't she? She should have said
yeah.
Read over the pocket.
Yeah, that was. I can't believe she didn't say that.
I mean, it was big shoes to fill.
Yeah, we got to play, actually, when Jurgen left. I mean, it was so weird because managers usually get fired, don't they? And so, of course, it was this really fun farewell because we all adored him. Off the pitch and on. And he had, at the arena in Liverpool, he had this night where he chatted and it was a sold out thing, and they asked us to play at it. So, just before he was leaving, I hadn't ever met him before, And I turned into like a 7-year-old. Really weird, you know. And he said, yeah, we played, and then it was at the end, we were all sort of on stage. I got a tap on the shoulder, and I turned around, and it was Jürgen. And I went, and usually I'm like, lovely to meet you, know. And I went, wow. And he went, Ian, good to meet you. And I went, wow. And he gave me a big hug, actually, and he went, you just thought this guy's an idiot. I'm going to give him a big hug and go as far away as possible. But I did get the Jürgen hug.
Ian, can I just say, up in Liverpool, I'm hearing they're saying Arnie Slot could be the Paisley to Shankly, to Klopp. He could be the same. He might go on and win.
Successor.
Actually, might go on and win more like Paisley did.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the hope, really, isn't it? That is the hope that, of course, Paisley'd been there, you know, for 20 years before, and sort of just was a continuation of it. But you know, that would be all right with me.
Yeah. There seems to be a real sort of modesty to him. He's not coming to the club giving it the big I am, as he giving it the big un. He's just kind of, it's just really unassumingly kind of, you know, hit the ground running, hasn't he? It's funny actually, because all this stuff about, because he's like that, everyone's like, well, he hasn't done anything much, and he's done loads. You know, he's come in, they haven't bought any players. He's got Ryan Gravenberg transformed into another player. Trent's defending quite, you know, sort of much more intelligently. I think Nunes looks like a real bit of a mad, still king of chaos, but you know, he's really come up. So you can see, you know, I mean, just the idea that the dressing room is with him and that they've all bought into him is not doing nothing. It's actually really, you know, really kind of taking it forward. I read a great interview with Trent Alexander where he said that he'd said he wanted to have a chat, and he thought, oh, here we go. You know, I think he's going to tell me you know, I'm my defending and this, that, the other. And he said, it was brilliant. He said to me, when you're defending, if you just change the angle you stand at by about 10 degrees, you'll find you make 60% more of your tackles.
Oh, brilliant.
And he said, this guy's great, you know.
Brilliant.
Simple maths.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ian, I was at Kendal Calling Festival this summer, and I went to see Lightning Seeds. Very enjoyable.
Great, actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was really good fun. And I was there enjoying the gig, played Life of Riley at the end, and I was thinking, and then you said, I'm going to do one more. And I was thinking, God, what? I've played most of the hits. What is it going to be? And then I completely forgot about 3 lines. I was like, oh, yeah, that'll be it then. It must be amazing playing that, because it just goes off, doesn't it?
It is, but what you're saying is what we really try and do, because, you know, 3 lines has always been this kind of brilliant thing, but two-edged sword, where you don't want everyone to forget about Pure and, you know, Look at You and all this stuff. And, you know, so there is a point where everyone, you know, it's great because, you know, our songs, it does peak, and it feels like now, that's what you want. You want people not to be thinking, well, when's he going to be playing the one, you know, that one that we come to see him for, you know. And it really there was a period where it was a little bit like that, which used to frustrate me a bit, but we seem to have gone right through that period now, and it is almost like, oh yeah, you know, 3 Lions, but there's more phones out these days for Life of Riley.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's such like an English song, isn't it? A dyed-in-the-wool English song. People around Europe sing it now. You hear different nations singing it. The Germans around the Euros. You hear all the different sets of fans singing it.
Yeah, and a few clubs have, you know, put their own words to it, which I love, really, because I don't think, to be honest, I'm not sure we ever really wrote it as an England song. We kind of wrote it, well, for me, I can't speak for the guys, but for me, it was about the competition being in, you know, so exciting. You're in '96. It's hard to explain to people who are a bit younger, but you just felt like there'd never been a competition here since '96, and it's gonna be here, and it was a really massive thing. And it's kind of about, you know, it is about England, obviously, but it's also about the excitement of the competition coming, and of, you know, the experience. You wanted it to feel like football fans feel, you know, which is that masochistic joy when you've travelled but lost in the last minute because the ref didn't like Jurgen Klopp.
and the fact it'll be around forever. We were talking about football chants back when the letter was C, and how most of the tunes to football chants, like they go back years to old folk songs and hymns and whatnot.
tunes.
You will be now forever cemented into the fabric of football with that hook.
Yeah, I hope so.
Which would be great. Staying on the theme of music and Liverpool and football, there was an interview that you did a while back, and it stayed with me because of something you said. It's about You'll Never Walk Alone. So you described it as a hymn, but you said that you went to football with your dad and your uncle, I think, and you watched them singing You'll Never Walk Alone. This is honestly giving me goosebumps now while I'm saying it. And you'd never seen that kind of emotion from your dad and your uncle, and it really did something to you about football and music and it coming together.
Yeah, no, it fused the two things. It was a midweek evening game, and I remember walking in and it was incredibly green, the grass, and then Leeds and Liverpool white and red and all these big people. And then the idea that my dad was suddenly singing and everyone around us was singing this song, it was overwhelming. I was like, even now, to be fair, it becomes, if I'm at the game, like the other night, and they sing You'll Never Walk Alone, I think of my dad always. It's almost a teary moment, and it is an emotion. It's just a trigger. And I love the idea that music, I feel like that about your songs. People, it's funny because we're doing our 35th anniversary tour, which is a mad thing, but it takes on a different connotation because there's so much affection on stage and between the audience, that because everyone's got an emotional memory of where they were for certain tunes, and you can see it, and it becomes something else, a little akin to, I do think, at football, that when you sing at football because you're winning, or I don't know, it's there's nothing like it, is it?
It's very powerful, isn't it?
It really is something.
Part of that, orchestra around the ground. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a Torquay fan, so
the best bit of You'll Never Walk Alone is
of us. Yeah.
If you start wrong on it, it goes incredibly high, and you see all these fellas, and they're like, to begin with, they're like, yeah, and then it's like when you get to the sweet silver song of the, it's
Ian, thank you so much for joining us today. We should plug the album though. 35 years. Tomorrow's Here Today, as Robbie just mentioned. There is hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. You can't believe how many hits you guys have written, and you've written basically. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Lovely chatting and to see you. Thank you.
Cheers, Ian.
Cheers, Ian.
Cheers. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Ian Broudie, what a top man. Right, we've got 2 J's left. Me v you. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I'm happy to do it if I want.
Go on, you do it.
I will say, last time Helen criticised me for doing research, but I've done some more research again, so sorry about that. I'm going for jobs, as in the jobs.
Did you find an article about
I found multiple articles, like I did last time, and collated all of them. I've not rung round every footballer.
One article.
I've not rung round all the footballers in the world to ask them
doing
this.
Jobs.
I've done research.
Their job is to be a footballer.
No, after playing. You see, these days, the problem is there's so much money in the game that they all just become pundits or managers or stop. But I liked the olden days where they had to open a pub.
Run a pub, yeah.
Sports shop.
Ooh, yeah.
So I've got footballers who have gone on to interesting jobs.
She's strong. Mickey Hazard was a
taxi driver.
Wow.
Taxi driver, yeah.
Okay, how should we do this? Should I say the player and you can guess what they did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, please.
Ramon Vega.
Oh, wasn't he like an accountant?
No,
or
I
something?
think he worked in the city, didn't he? With financial investor.
Hedge fund manager.
Oh, yes.
Thomas Gravison.
Oh, he's like a playboy, isn't he?
He became a professional poker player.
Yeah.
Oh.
Philippe Albert, Newcastle fame.
Veg, fruit and veg.
Greengrocer. For
Yeah.
12 years he stayed a greengrocer before he eventually got tempted
Belgian
into
Pete
punditry.
Beale. Yeah.
That's good.
Arjan Deziu, I don't know how you pronounce
Wigan.
that. He's at Portsmouth and Cov.
Don't know.
Joe's good at
He got a medical degree and joined the police force as a forensic investigator.
Oh,
Did
that's
he?
very
I
cool.
love that.
Daniel Agger,
Tattooist.
Yeah.
tattooist, but he also owns a sewage management company.
Oh, yes, with his brother. He sold it now.
For good knowledge. Former Barcelona goalkeeper Jose Manuel Pinto.
Pinto, the chef.
Zumba teacher.
Oh.
Marco Gabbiadini.
Don't know.
Ooh.
Runs a B&B in York.
Nice.
Does he?
Clive Allen is a brief job. You might remember this.
He's a pundit.
Bookies.
No, he went on to become an NFL kicker when in the
he
for the
did,
London
yeah.
Monarchs.
That's right. Yeah.
Stuart Ripley of Blackburn.
Oh, he's isn't he a lawyer or something?
He is.
Yeah.
Yep. David Hillier of Arsenal became a firefighter.
Bookies. Which one opened the bookies up?
I don't know.
We used to do it.
William
It was a
Hill.
top near us. It was William Hill, yeah. He's left back for Stoke, moved to Port Vale.
Played with ivermectin.
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin, Tim.
No, we used to do. Okay, he's an old Chelsea player. He used to be up at when we used to do the Magic Man, where we used to do some of the sketches. Oh, Magic Man. Do you remember up at the top by
Yorkshire Boulevard.
Yeah. Where all the shops were up the top near Sky. Oh,
Yeah,
he used to own
Yorkshire
that, he used to
Boulevard.
own that thing. Oh, come to me. God, that's really annoying. If Tubes was here, he'll remember.
Julian Dix.
Don't know.
He opened a dog kennel, although he said business has been a bit rough.
Oh, yes.
That's for you, Joe.
Yes.
Ray Wilson,
Brilliant.
England's 1966 World Cup winning left back.
Nightclub.
Undertaker.
That's good. How many more
Ken-
have we got?
Oh, we're getting the best ones now.
I like
All right,
it.
geez.
Yeah,
Ken Moncow.
Ken Moncow. Don't know.
He opened a pancake house in Netherlands in 2003, although business has been a little flat.
Yeah, throwbarring him in now, isn't he?
I've got one more joke in these.
The problem with that though is he wouldn't have anything to do with it because
How do you know?
half of the Chelsea team opened up restaurants and stuff years ago. They weren't in the kitchens. They weren't maitre d'.
Wait.
Yeah,
So-
silent
No, he-
investor.
Yeah, they're just investing cash in it. That's not proper.
No, you're wrong,
No.
Tim. You're wrong.
What? So he's
Because
flipping
he,
pancakes? Rubbish.
Yes, he came
Language.
on Soccer AM to do it.
Oh,
He
Oh.
came,
I
we
accept the
invited
apology,
him on.
Tim.
As a promo
Yes.
gimmick. No way. Go on.
No, he cooked them all.
Nearly done. Kevin Kyle's a ship storeman. Which I don't know what that
Don't
is.
be so rude.
A what?
Ship storeman, something to do with.
Oh,
Language. What are you?
well,
Who are
wait.
you? Samasi Abu?
Stefan Guverch,
Yeah.
France's 1998 World Cup winner, is a swimming pool salesman.
How do you... What?
Swimming pool salesman.
Yep.
It's got rich clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And George Weah is probably the best one.
President of Liberia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more with a joke if you want it.
Go on.
John Chiesdozi, Spurs winger, is a
Opened a trampoline.
he opened a bouncy car. Is a bouncy castle salesman.
Business is up and down?
Up and down.
No, it's been affected by inflation.
Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, I like that.
We used to stop at every one and we could have tried and thought of the joke.
Yeah.
That would have, because it was good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it
bit.
was
If you-
good.
If you'd let us,
I enjoyed it.
if you'd let us do more jokes. I
Yeah,
think.
my worry is that I don't know what I'm going to get criticised for. Like last time I got
This
time
week.
for research. So.
Robbie, you're so salty for me just finding out that you looked at one website.
It was
Yeah.
multiple websites.
There's only one J left. I think the competition's very, very strong this week, and we haven't even got Tubes here either. But mine's good. Mine's good, and it was sent in by a lot of listeners as well.
So you've copied it from them.
No, I haven't. It was something that I thought of too, but the listeners loved it as well. So if you're choosing this one, Helen, you're choosing one which is popular with our listeners. Just letting you know that it's J for Judas, playing for the wrong club. And it was such a no-no when we were kids. You just couldn't do it. Now they seem to be swapping backwards and forwards managers and players for clubs. You know, you have Benitez turn up at Chelsea or George Graham turn up. That's quite an old example, but
These days.
I mean, obviously, you know, if you do play for your rivals when you know your club has grown your career and then you play for your rivals, you should. I mean, I think we all agree you should be put in prison. No, I was going to go through some of the because I feel sorry for these players a bit because there's always a story behind it. So I'm going to start off. Who would you think of? I've got my top 5 here, and I think they're the same you'll all think of. Who would you think of? Throw a name out, please, of the Judas.
Sol
Famous
Campbell.
one, Sol Campbell.
Sol Campbell, yeah, that's the
Sol
one I got.
yeah.
Spurs
Michael
captain.
Owen.
Spurs captain. He was at Arsenal. And he said he'd never play for Spurs, but he wanted to play Champions League football, and he went on a free. And as far as I could, so I did some research yesterday, I do feel a bit sorry for Sol, even though, you know, it's not something you should possibly do. But I think...
You just said he was going to prison.
That was it, tongue in cheek. But I think he should. I think it was. I think he was allowed to leave, basically. So I think, you know, the next one I've got is Paul Ince. Do you remember Paul Ince?
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
holding the shirt up before, holding the Man United shirt up while he was still a West Ham player.
So I've never read why that happened, but I feel a bit sorry for Paul Ince for this as well. He said, I spoke to Alex Ferguson, the deal was close to being done. I then went on holiday and my agent at the time, Ambrose Mendy, said it wasn't worth me coming back to do a picture in a United shirt when the deal was completed. So I should do one before I left and it would be released when the deal was announced. Lawrence Luster of the Daily Star took the picture and put it in a library. Soon after, their sister paper, the Daily Express, were looking for a picture of me playing for West Ham and found the one of me in the United shirt in the pile. They published it and all hell broke loose. I came back from holiday to discover West Ham fans were going mad. It wasn't really my fault. I was a kid. I did what my agent told me to do. Then I took all the crap for it. So I actually feel sorry for him. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the biggest ones we've got is Mo Johnson. So Mo Johnson played for Celtic. Then he went off to France, played for Nantes or something. Then he came back and Souness said play for Rangers. And this is the biggest one ever, I think, because I don't think there'd ever been a Catholic employed to play for Rangers.
Yeah.
And you know how that rivalry is there. And Rangers fans were burning season tickets and doing that. But brave of Mo Johnson for doing that.
I remember being in Scotland at the time, and it was absolutely mental. It was like the biggest news.
But why that's good is I think since then Catholics and Protestants have been able to play for each other's teams without the grief. I mean, it's still, I think, a bit dodgy up there, but, you know, for that sort of stuff. But I think it's enabled more players to do that. It's good. I've got a couple of others. Carlos Tevez was at United. He left West Ham for some, like, didn't he just get up and leave?
There's some weird ownership thing, wasn't there?
Yeah,
with
someone owned
Mascherano,
it.
that some
That's
bloke
right,
owned.
exactly, yeah.
Some bloke owned a player.
players.
Yeah, like
him and Mascherano, wasn't
yeah,
it?
something like that. And then he went up to United, but then he signed for City.
Yeah.
So you've got Schmeichel. You must have Schmeichel on that list then.
No, I haven't, but he got 47 million for that. But hadn't Fergie said Schmeichel can go, so it was a bit different. So the other two, I feel a bit sorry for. Alan Smith, who Leeds United said he'd never play for United, Man United, because they're the big rivals. But Alan Smith didn't really want to go, and Leeds sold him because they were desperate for money because they'd just gone down, and they sold him to United. And he even waived his fee, saying to the Leeds fans, but fans can't do it. And Ashley Cole, Cashley was called, because apparently Arsenal had mucked him up and wanted to offer him 55 grand, where he was going to Chelsea, he was going to get 140 grand or something a week, which is a lot of difference in money. So that's my I've
got a good one you got mentioned.
Okay, that's my Judas. Go on.
Luis Figo.
Well, yeah,
Barcelona to Real Madrid.
Yeah. There's a reason I haven't mentioned that.
Oh. I've got a better one.
It's a question on the Q&Q on Friday. But anyway, that's the biggest one ever. Yeah. Anyway, go on, Helen.
No. I've got a bigger one. Chris Curran.
Oh yes.
Torquay United.
Yes.
Torquay United.
Yeah.
To Plymouth Argyle to Exeter City. Ooh, Judas.
I remember.
Yeah.
Do you all remember when that happened?
Yeah.
It's big, wasn't it?
You can't expect him to turn down a £30 pay rise, though.
Yeah.
Back of the Sun, back of the Mail, back of the Times. It was, every paper was running that story, wasn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Still living it.
Yeah. So there's the end of the Jays. Well, I think mine's strong, by the way. I think it was really. Do you agree? It's quite strong.
For once, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Well, for once, every week I deliver. They're calling me the postman. No, they're calling me the mailman. The viewers, the listeners, they're calling me the mailman because I deliver every week. No, they call it. Yeah. Anyway. Whilst Helen thinks, I was just going to tell you a few wokes. David Cryer, TV presenters and commentators having to advertise TV dramas after returning from adverts. Woke nonsense. That does make me laugh.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but welcome back to Man United, Manchester Derby. And if you haven't watched The Day of the Jackal, give it a go. Just give it a go.
I think they should do that the other way around. You should be watching like some.
Quite like The Day of the Jackal, but they threw everything in that first episode, didn't they? problem is the first episode's so good, and then 2, 3, whatever carries as it
I've
carries.
only done the first 2.
All right, well, 2's not as good as 1. They threw everything at 1. 1 was brilliant, wasn't it? It was a little masterclass in no one speaking and just great visuals and music. Good soundtrack. That's the thing they used there.
Yeah.
They blew a lot of cash on music on that one.
They did.
Roos Michael says, I got told off at work for talking too loud while someone at their desk was asleep. That's woke nonsense. We've moved out of the football territory there, which I don't mind. That's funny. And Nicholas889 says, refs becoming pundits like Mike Dean as part of Soccer Saturday panel. Woke nonsense. It's all woke. Helen, we haven't done the WWFs yet. I forgot about that. Should we do that before you decide that I've won?
Yeah, all right. Sacking Mark Robbins at Coventry is my WWF this
That was a
week,
weird
but
thing to do, wasn't it?
just yeah.
Part of the furniture.
Colin says, what's wrong with football is John Logie Baird. Get your
What?
head
A bit
round.
harsh on him, isn't it?
I mean, he
If
wasn't
he-
great at Portsmouth, but, age is catching you up with him,
Yeah, and then he went and played at Southampton, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a mistake he made, yeah.
So he reckons that John Logie Baird is what's wrong with football because if he'd never invented the television, then we would have never have ended up with Sky. So we would have never have ended up with the Premier League. So then more people would go to matches in their local area and therefore creating more pride, and this would stop the downfall of the entire country.
I've got to say, that's an essay.
No, people forget how little TV there was to watch before John Logie Baird.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
You got to look at both
Yeah.
sides of it.
Yeah.
You'd have to read a book. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
I like
You
his
know.
thinking, though. That is good. That is good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
to go
you
right
would go
back.
back. You go
Taking
to
it all the way back.
You'd go back to the Greeks who have invented writing. Go before then.
No, because it was. It's actually John Logie Bair's parents that I think are to blame.
Yeah,
That's
For
what's wrong with
creating
football.
him.
For
Yeah.
creating him.
Although-
they ruined football, those two, by
You say
creating
that.
John.
John Logie Bair's grandparents. Do you know what they did?
What?
They gave birth to John Logie Bair's parents.
Those rotters. They killed
Can
football.
I,
They killed
Can
football.
can I?
You
right.
may.
Aaron Booth says chewing gum has disappeared from the game since Fergie left United. No manager since has realised what's missing. 2 words, actually, Aaron. Thomas Frank. Come on, Thomas Frank. All the time. So Aaron's wrong. Come on, this guy can't be called Martin Douche. I mean, he might be. I'm sorry. Is that, am I getting megxed here, Martin Douche? Popcorn being sold at grounds. See it all the time at the London Stadium. Whatever happened to the nuclear hot pie? I've not seen popcorn sold at grounds.
No, it's a good snack though. I thought this.
The pies are still around.
It's a-
Pie Saturday, yeah.
It's a good snack because it's low calorie and yet it can fill you up. It's funny actually if you go to Spain and they all sit there with their sunflower seeds. Have you been
Yeah.
there? They're all peeling sunflower seeds. There's piles of it. People have to clear that stuff up. Anyway, we've come to the end of the show. Helen, just a quick answer here. Who has won? It's got to be me, hasn't it?
I'm sorry, it's Robbie.
Ready. I was confident. I'm ready and waiting for the crown.
That's it from
I
this
enjoyed
week's
that.
show.
Oh, feels good.
We'll be back on Friday with a question and quiz. We'll see you all then. We'll be back next week with the letter K for Kevin Keegan. We'll see you then. Bye.
No.